Welcome to Superstitions, Traditions, and Definitions. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Carol.
And today,
What is it?
we're going to finish talking about ghosts because we talked about the history and why we think that they are out there and real. And today we're going to talk about the history of ghost hunting.
Fun. There's a history of ghost hunting?
Yes. Yeah, it's a Victorian thing, really.
They hunt, well, okay, Houdini. Kind of.
Houdini, he was a skeptic.
Yes.
He was
back in his time.
Yes. He was adamant that it wasn't real and anybody communicating was fraud and things like that. Everybody believed ghosts exist.
And for the unexplained noises.
Unexplained noises.
Crap like
and yeah. But it was, I think, more like for comfort. Knowing that the person you lost and loved is still
banging around.
And
stealing your makeup.
Stealing my makeup.
Knocking shit over.
Yeah, making things disappear.
Your sister.
Uh-huh.
She needs to quit.
Yeah. So when she passed, her ashes came to me because, my mom just couldn't.
Of course.
So my house flooded and I ended up selling it and I'm living with my mom while I'm building my
new place.
Yep. And I couldn't put my sister in storage with my other stuff.
No, I would hope not.
So I moved her into mom's with me, and I have her little black box just there.
Right.
But concealed. So that, mom doesn't walk in the room and see her.
Right.
Sitting there. And so now it's like a fun little game of hide and seek. Mom will be doing something, and all of a sudden I hear, "Well, I found your sister."
Oh God!
Yeah, you won. You won the game, and so then I'll have to go hide her somewhere else and kind of.
You ever just put her in your sock drawer?
No.
Maybe you should.
No, I have her in the living room.
Why is she in the living room?
Because that's where everybody is, and she was a little social thing. She needed people, so
but. Then your mom can see her, and you're supposed to be helping your mom.
I hide her.
No, not very good. You're the loser at hide and seek.
We play the best game. Mom and Ashley, they have the best game of hide and seek going ever.
No.
And every once in a while, Mom wins. Most of the time, Ashley wins, though. She sits there all hidden, and it takes weeks for Mom to find her.
Maybe put her in an old peanut butter jar. Your mom probably wouldn't find her then.
I might eat her. She loves peanut butter.
I didn't say mix her in. I didn't say mix her in with the peanut butter. So just hide her.
Oh, okay, just
hide her better.
Hide her. No, I like the game.
You like listening to your mom squawk.
For me, it's comfort. I like thinking she's there, and
even though she steals your crap.
I like having her to still blame when I can't find things because you can't just stop doing that after 30 years because she's gone.
It's still her fault.
It's still her fault.
It
has been her fault since I was 3 years old.
Right.
It will continue to be her fault.
Interesting. Okay.
No,
my brother hits me once in a while, and it's him.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's her. So.
Yeah, some weird something that she loved and nobody else knew existed will pop up. I'm like, what on earth?
Yep. Same with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
He was a chef, so I usually, when I'm in the kitchen, he'll hit me in the head once in a while. And it used to be, after he first died, I knew he was telling me to quit being a fucking crybaby. I have no doubt that was, the hits that I was getting was, stop it. It's hard to stop it, though. But yeah.
That's awesome. I handle grief in an inappropriate way. I'm not somebody you take to a funeral.
No,
because I make jokes and then I giggle at my own jokes, and it's not nice. But
well, if people understand that, then they can be like, oh, okay, just how she does it.
yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've looked in my office because I just say things, and to me, it is how I handle it, and forget that it's not
How everybody
how
else
most
does.
people handle. And I will just look over and they're all going like this. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. If it makes you feel better, you are more than welcome to come over, go through my backyard, find her ashes, and put them back in her box.
Right.
You can find her toes for her. They don't.
No,
They aren't that concerned.
No, I'm not going to either.
Okay.
So we're just going to all be of the opinion that Ashley can stay in the yard.
All right.
She's
Pieces
happy
of her.
there.
Just like her big toe.
Yeah.
Pinky finger.
Tip of her nose.
Tip of her nose.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it was the Victorian era was, when was that? That was like 1830s to turn of the century.
Present day.
Actually,
I'm kidding.
We've had a couple of eras since then.
Yeah, we have.
The comforts and the remembrance, but it was also the era where like photography was, you didn't have to commission an artist to paint your likeness, and something most people couldn't afford. So when somebody died, they were gone. Like there was you could have a piece of their hair or a lock of their hair, but there was no pictures to look back on and remember how they looked and how they sounded and things like that. So
and
the
that's
Victorian, hard to grasp. It is, especially, and I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think that's why the Victorian era had such an attachment to death, and it had such a fascination with it. 'Cause for the first time, it was available to them,
right?
To have pictures, and telegraph was invented, and during this time, so it was you could record, and it still wasn't available to the masses, but it was out there, and they knew it was out there, and it was possible now.
Sure.
But they were fascinated. They were absolutely fascinated with
when did they start to
death.
Hunt? Actually go.
So,
are we skipping too far ahead?
No, we are right on track. That's
Great.
exactly where it started. There were recordings of ghosts. We talked about Pliny the Elder last time.
Yes,
and
you love him.
Or younger, yes. I love both of them. But
yes.
Pliny the Younger in the 1st century was recording hauntings. He had a couple of his, I don't know, whatever, his works that were recordings of hauntings in areas that he had traveled to.
Right.
And then the first recorded poltergeist with like a written account was in 856 AD. So the 9th century.
That's a long time ago.
It's a very long time ago. It was a little German farmhouse a family moved into, and things would be thrown at them by nobody. I mean, the occasional fire was started, and there were noises, and all of this was recorded. But nobody was going in and hunting and trying to prove. So then the Victorians come along, and we're in mid-1800s. And rather than fearing and trying to ignore it, they are embracing it.
So they weren't trying to ward it off.
Right. They are no longer
invited in.
And we did an Am I the Asshole episode about the Fox sisters a while back. So with them, they were the first, they launched the spiritualist movement.
Cool.
So they're saying not only are they here, but I can talk to them. They were the first to actually say, hey, I mean, this 11 and 14-year-old girl, and they just happened to exist in the right time that people were like, we want that.
Yeah.
There was
had a new quality to it, I'm sure.
Yes. During the Age of Enlightenment, which was 1700s, there was a philosopher named Emanuel Swedenborg. And he was one of... Name. Yes, it is. He was one of the first to... Like, there was conjuring and things that cunning folk did to settle things down. Mm-hmm. But he was the first to, like, record in his diary visions and prophecy and, like, really not just Nostradamus and
oh yeah,
you know, things like that, but they were written accounts of it, and this is what I've seen. He was the first to embrace it and try. He would have these visions in his dreams at night, and he was like excited about it, and so he wanted to... He actively tried and apparently succeeded at developing his psychic ability while he was awake. He predicted his own death right down to the day.
Oh.
While he was traveling 250 miles away from his home, was in this group of people. All of a sudden, this dread hit him, and he saw his house on fire.
Oh.
And it turns out at that same time, which he didn't find out for days because
of course
there wasn't telephones
time.
and
Right.
People were coming to him to let him know. But he was absolutely right in everything he said that he saw it. And with that, he really tried to bring it out, mm-hmm. which was like one of the first to embrace it and want to develop the skill, saw it as a skill and not just something I need to write down so that people can misinterpret it 300 years later.
Maybe I can make this work for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
He died on March 29th, 1772.
Oh.
Had predicted the day he was going to die. I don't know. I didn't delve too deep into it to find out exactly like how he died and that kind of stuff. And maybe that was the day he predicted, and so he made it happen. I mean,
right.
You can finagle things like that, but
sure. But I mean, would you want to? Was he a suicidal person?
Right. And I mean, if you have a hill you're going to die on, like mm-hmm. psychic ability, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, but then you're just not here to say, told you.
Right. You don't get to bask in the glory of being correct.
No, because you're dead.
He ended up being like ostracized and cast out of the church. And
I bet.
He was a minister.
Oh.
Prior to this, wrote books about
spilled a little bit of my coffee.
Heaven and hell and God and biblical teachings. But then in his enlightenment, decided that the Bible was more of a history book and not necessarily facts. Mm. And things it required.
Isn't history fact, though?
I mean, yes and no. History is objective.
Well, it depends on which side you're on, I suppose.
Right, but I mean, you figure history is a recorded. Mm-hmm. But it's also, people can't record things without their objective in it. So.
Well, they're supposed to.
They are supposed to.
Yeah, and you know, the ones that are worthy of recording mm-hmm. such things, they leave their opinion out of it. Right. Here are things that happened. Here was the result. You decide.
And ideally, how history evolved, it was people's record of things, but then like when we found out what it was that she had created.
Yeah, but that may not be the case here.
Right. I mean, they are going off of his diaries.
Right.
His records, like he had published his findings, he had written books. Eventually his diary was published. Okay. In 100 years later, mid 1800s, a Englishman got a hold of it. His name was, what was his name? Edmund Dawson Rogers. got a hold of it. He was fascinated
Okay.
by it. But he was looking at it objectively. Is this possible? And how do we prove, first of all, that it is possible, but then how do we prove that it's not? And he got with a friend of his and a colleague, Sir William Barrett, and the two of them formed the very first Paranormal Investigative Society.
Fun.
Which is still in existence today.
The same chapter is
the same thing. The Society of Paranormal Investigation, or Paranormal Research, Society of Paranormal Research, is still active today. And was formed in 1881.
Okay.
They were the first.
So what exactly do they do? Do they travel around and listen for bumps in the night? Cool.
Yeah, the goal of them was to scientifically conduct paranormal research.
Okay.
But also to debunk fraudulent claims. The Fox sisters, who started the whole spiritualist movement,
right,
they were in the 40s. That happened in 1841, I believe. So we're 40 years into hundreds and thousands of people claiming to be able to communicate with the dead. Ouija boards are now in existence. Seances are popular.
You know,
happenings. I do. I do. They were created in this time.
Right.
So their goal, they wanted to prove that it was real. But they also wanted to debunk the ones that were just trying to make a buck off of playing off of people's sympathies
or fears.
So the Fox sisters led to the spiritualist movement. We're having seances in the White House.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Mary Todd Lincoln was
trying to commune.
Huge in this with, losing 2 sons and then her husband. And she suffered a lot of loss. And that's hard to handle. So she was a fierce advocate of spiritualism.
And rather an influential person.
So... yeah, I mean, Tiffany and Company exists in part because of her.
Tiffany? Got my Tiffany bracelet on today.
Yes.
I haven't worn that in forever. It's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, they were started in 1835.
Okay.
2 friends wanted to open a business. Actually, Tiffany and Company started as a stationery store.
Makes sense.
They wanted to sell stationery.
Now they sell silver and diamonds
But yeah, she was Mary Todd.
No, it's just funny that you said that, and I wore my bracelet today.
That is funny.
You and me right here.
I know it.
All the time. It's probably spooky.
But yeah, her influence helped launch that. Abraham Lincoln, for his inauguration, bought her a jewelry set from Tiffany and Company, and then everybody had to go buy one.
Of course.
And then, Jackie Kennedy helped with it too. She was a big fan of Tiffany jewelry and wore it often, and that's how things get big. The right person hears about it and embraces it, and then everybody wants to, the influencer in the 1800s.
Yeah, and influence into today.
Yep. So Mary Todd Lincoln, she was big in it. Then Harry Houdini, who was a very popular magician, illusionist. And that was, he hated spiritualism.
Yeah, thought it was fake.
He did. And it wasn't so much that it was occurring, it was that people were passing it off as facts and real. And he does illusions for a living, but he's honest about it.
Right, he's honest. I'm hoodwinking you. I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
Say, this is your dead grandma.
Right. And it made him angry that there, in his opinion, whether or not it is actually real, I don't know, but in his opinion, it was magicians and illusionists preying on the fear and grief of people, and that was not, it was wrong
and pathetic.
And he wanted, but then like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he was a fierce supporter of spiritualism. Okay. They were also really good friends until that came into play. It kind of cost them their friendship.
Imagine.
But this is where like ghost hunting originated, from the spiritualist movements and people either trying to prove that they were real or that it was fake. And it's when Ouija boards came into existence. They were created in this Victorian era. And now it is a whole thing. Like you can take ghost tours and carry an EMF reader or something, whatever those are called.
The EMP?
Yeah. Where it picks up on
electromagnetic
ghosts.
Pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your children drag you to the movie theater to watch two teenage boys hunt ghosts.
Yeah, you did that. Was that last week?
Yes.
And you learned so much.
I did. I spent the entire time leaning over the aisles. You see what they're doing? Don't do that. They are just asking for trouble. You are inviting things in that you don't want to live with you.
Right. Is this when sage came in as well? Or is that a whole different?
No. That is not even related.
No, is it? But did they burn sage, Ouija boards, all that kind of thing? Some of it they get crazy with.
They do. No, if they believed it was a poltergeist, at this time, religion is still a huge influence.
Yeah.
Sage was a primarily Native American.
Sure.
And we're in this time where we're trying to wipe out Native American culture, so we are not going to burn sage.
But it smells good.
It does smell.
And it gets rid of,
But no, they used the church and blessings and Bible verses, and if you're Catholic, holy water. Yeah. Anointed oil for some other.
Oh yeah, they've got to go and get the baptism oil and what's the one's for exorcism, and what's the third one? I can't remember. They have to go to like I think they go every year.
Kitchen sink?
No. No. It's baptism oil. I don't know if there's just a general anointing oil, but I know there's an exorcism oil because our priest never liked to have to go get his. And he would tell us that.
It's just, please do not invite
dead guys
to possess you. I don't want to have to travel.
No, he didn't want to have to go because they, go to the diocese and
Yeah, it's not as easy as just calling the priest to come over.
No, the priest has to be armed.
He does, and has to
crap in his
permissions
little
and
bag.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
No, the sage was more embraced in like the early 1900s, mid 1900s with the civil rights movements for Native American people who, anyway, that's how that came about. But
okay.
I mean,
I didn't know if it weaseled its way in with some of the other.
It didn't weasel its way in with the Victorians because they were still pretty sure that they were right and everybody else was wrong.
Gotcha.
But no, like the spiritualist movements lasted from the 1840s, 1850s until about the 1920s is when it really started to fall off. As far as
did people find something
the productions of it
play with at that point?
They were still interested in it, but as far as public seances, and I mean, we still have mediums today that do public shows people buy tickets to and watch on TV and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I had a friend tried to get me to go to one of those and see if she'd pull me out of the audience and talk to me about my brother, and I was just not prepared to do that.
I wouldn't be prepared to do that either.
No.
I mean, how hard is it to look into an audience and pull out a single person and say, you've suffered a loss?
Yeah.
They want you to know they love you. And
yeah. Everybody. Everybody suffered loss.
It would would be weird if they pulled one out and they were like, "Nah, everybody I have ever loved is still alive and with me."
Yep. There's a vowel in their name. You know, that kind of shit.
Their name starts with a letter from the alphabet.
Not the Greek alphabet, our alphabet.
Right.
So that narrows it way down.
Which is what Houdini.
Yeah.
Because it was always just vague and...
Yeah. It can cover anything. A lot of things.
His mother, her first language wasn't English.
Right. What was she, Hungarian?
Something like that. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But anyway, her first language wasn't English. And that's when he really started to get pissed off about it. Mm-hmm. He had gone with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle to one. And the medium, whoever, singled him out and said, your mother has passed, and which she had recently passed. And she has a message for you. And they give him the message. And at first it was comforting. And he was through. And then he gets home and is thinking about it days later and like, wait, my mother never spoke to me in English. That's not what she would have said.
Right.
It might have been what she would have said, but that's not how she would have said it. And then he was just pissed.
Yeah.
So.
And of course they would have no way of knowing.
Right. Right.
You're getting close. Getting close. Mm-hmm. No cigar.
So he actually, I think it was he and his wife, when I pass, go, try to communicate with me, and I'm going to tell you exactly this, but make sure nobody, and it never happened.
Right.
And I can't remember if it was him and if she passed first and was going to say it to him, or he was going to say, however it happened, but
whoever went first.
Yeah. They had a specific message to say to each other, and then
it was a no-go.
Never came about.
I think if things like that happen, they have to happen, naturally, accidentally. When people try to force such things, it's just...
And when you open a door...
I understand wanting it really bad, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Right.
Opening a door, what?
When you open a door like that they are actively attempting to... They're opening a door to communicate with the spirit realm, and that is...
Bad idea.
Yeah. That's a horribly bad idea. You don't know what's waiting on that side.
You stay over here.
Jump in.
Right.
Something I tell my children often.
Anything good.
You don't touch a Ouija board. You don't... you are a grown-up. You can do as you please.
Wasn't always so. I've had it since I was in 9th grade. So.
But, or, we do ghost tours. My kids and I love them. I love doing them. But I like from the history aspect of it.
Walking around. Take something home with you.
Right. I love walking around big cities.
I didn't bring my ears.
Oh, you didn't?
You were supposed to remind me.
I
forgot too.
I am never the one to remind anybody of anything.
Well, that's the thing with the haunted mansion is, maybe you'll take a ghost home with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'm not looking
for that. I got enough people to
take care of, look out for, feed,
keep track of, and
keep track of.
I barely handle that.
Right.
Well, having to keep track of something I can't see, I am setting myself up for failure, and
maybe
prefer not to do that.
Maybe they can look out for themselves.
I doubt it.
I mean, why not? They've got extra special powers, maybe. I don't know.
They do have extra special powers, I guess. I mean, if they can...
You probably don't have to feed them.
The 9th century can...
No laundry.
Throw things around in a German farmhouse, I guess.
I mean, why not your farmhouse?
We don't like for things to be thrown there.
No, of course not.
And we certainly don't like random fires.
No. Not many people do. I mean, unless you're a firebug.
Then you love them.
Yeah.
They can have
you
the
encourage
spirits.
them. You go out and make that happen.
That's true.
Right. Which is frowned upon.
Frowned upon.
Don't start fires. Unless it's responsibly in a fireplace. It's getting to be that time of year.
I love a good fireplace.
Yes, me too.
From this movement,
Mm-hmm.
a small town was formed.
Where?
In New York.
Of course.
It's called Lilydale. And that is where all of the...
Is that one word or two?
Two.
Lilydale.
Lilydale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dale or Dell?
D-A-L-E.
Dale.
Dale.
Okay. I know there's lots of Dells up there.
Yes.
So,
No, this
is different.
Yes.
Okay.
It is where all of the spiritualists lived, or where they hoped to.
Did they all commune?
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to learn and study and maybe bounce off each other.
And
Got you.
yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
It is a tourist attraction now.
Oh, I bet.
Population of like 270 spiritualists, and people still go to Lilydale to commune with the dead.
Does it have to be with the dead? Can it be just the not very healthy, not doing very well?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask.
I am an introvert in my core. Like, this exhausts me mentally.
This.
And I'm not even talking. I am talking to a laptop. It is you and me in this room. I am talking to a laptop, but I know that I'm in for real talking to people that are out there, and mentally exhaust me. Like, I have to take a nap after we record because so having to go anywhere and talk to people and feel like I am on is mentally exhausting to me. I am not looking to talk to people that are not there.
Yes, we don't talk to the people that aren't there. That's a bad deal.
Mm-mm.
Don't go talk to the wall. There's no people there.
They're not. I don't want to talk to ghosts.
Or any fleshy living people.
I don't even want to talk to the living people. I want to stay in my little bubble.
We talk all the time.
We do.
Mm-hmm. And then you go take a nap.
We text.
We do text.
How often do we talk on the phone?
Oh, we don't, because you won't answer.
I won't. I will hold it in my hand and see your name come up and be like, that is so cute.
Look at that.
I love her.
She's got too much to tell me. She's too lazy to text it. She just wants to spit it in my ear.
And then I will text you, hey, I missed your call.
Yeah, and
I didn't really miss.
No, I knew you. I know you look at it and go, "Fuck her."
It is terror. I feel terror in my soul
when your phone rings.
When my phone, even when it's your name and you're one of my favorite people to talk to, I feel terror in my soul seeing the phone ring.
When I see you call, I know something's wrong.
If I am calling you, we really
That's the first thing I'll say is, "What's wrong?"
Because
with you, my children, my husband, anything. What's going on? What's up? What's wrong? Because you people don't call me.
Right. I will text you all day long.
Yep. All right.
But that is where it all started. It started with the Society of Paranormal Research wanting to prove that you could commune with the dead during the Victorian era when that whole movement came about.
Right.
And it has branched now to there being tools and EMF readers and sticks that sway and Ouija boards.
And all that.
Yeah, they were supposed to be finding water, not ghosts, but whatever.
Yeah. Or graves or whatever they're after.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that spurred the whole ghost hunting and the popularity of it, and it has increased from there and is now a thing.
It's a whole enterprise.
It is a whole enterprise.
TV shows.
Every time I go on vacation, I take a ghost tour. Ooh. Because every big city has a nighttime ghost tour.
Right.
And they are fascinating. You learn a lot of history about little silly things about the city
Right.
that you aren't going to
You
find
wouldn't
on
know if you didn't
Wikipedia.
talk to somebody who didn't live there, wasn't
Right.
raised there, that kind of thing.
Which, as a lover of history, that is fun to me.
Mm-hmm.
When they try to hand me an EMF reader, I'm like, no.
I'm good.
I don't want to read nothing. I did not ask for that.
I'm just along for the ride.
Uh-huh. So anyway,
think
there
that's
we
about
go.
it.
That's it took us 45 minutes for me to say, hey, guess what? It started in the Victorian era because they liked talking to the dead.
We're just here to shoot the shit, so
Yeah.
we did fine.
Okay.
I think so.
Lilydale.
Billy Dell.
Sounds fun.
Yep.
I want to see it.
We'll have to.
All right. She loves you.
I do.
I have a fondness.
She does.